the 7th.
Yes, he is. So tell me, I'm going to tell you about a conversation I had this morning. It's an unusual one. So this woman called me up. She's got a French Bulldog. And I think it's 2 years old. And the first year of its life, it was a normal, well-behaved, happy little French Bulldog.
Yeah.
Then, one day they're in the car with their kids, and the dog kind of gets kind of this funky stare on its eyes. And then it starts to get really aggressive, and it bit one of the kids in the back seat.
What?
Yeah, bit them. And then anyway, that.
And it's 2 years old now.
This is when it was about a year and a bit old.
Okay.
So they've been fighting this problem with aggression for the last. Let me tell you what. They've been fighting a problem with aggression with this dog that's got progressively worse.
Oh my.
So it says the dog will get a kind of a wild look on it, and when it does that, it kind of goes into this rampage where it starts to get it's angry, it's pissed.
No kidding.
And it will bite people. It's bitten her, it's been her husband, it's been the kids. And they went to the vet, and the vet said, "Oh, we think it's a genetic thing, right? Whatever."
Oh.
And then they prescribed some medication, which I don't know what it was, but it's going to be like some kind of a Valium type, depressant type
Well, that's
medication.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I wouldn't.
they gave that to the dog and kind of got it somewhat under control. But now that dog's drug is no longer working, and now the dog will go into this angry phase for days at a time.
Oh my goodness.
When she called me up,
And that's a French Bulldog.
it's a French Bulldog, she
I
got
can't
the
believe
dog
that.
in a crate. She says, "I can't hardly feed the dog. If I put my fingers through the bars, it'll bite my fingers." So it is just a angry, very upset dog. And I said, "Well, okay, so what happened a year ago with this change of behavior?" And they said, "Nothing. Been in the same family, doing the same things, but all of a sudden this dog's just acting nutty, and it's getting
Something's
nutty."
not right.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think? I got some ideas.
Something in the head's not right, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
because the first year they had it, it was okay.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, it gets this different look about itself.
So what do you think might be going wrong in his head?
Maybe a tumor of sort,
Yeah,
or something's not
that's
right.
that's
Neurological.
Yeah. So exactly.
I don't know.
I think it could very likely be a tumor. So I think that what you've got here is, first off,
Because that's unusual for a French Bulldog.
Well, how many French Bulldogs have we been around?
Oh my gosh,
breeding?
24 years, James.
I mean,
we've been around French
1,000 dogs.
Not ever have we ever had a problem with a French Bulldog.
We've bred thousands of dogs
Right.
and been around many hundreds of dogs. So in all that time, I have never, ever, ever. The only time I've ever seen an aggressive bulldog was one time when I was breeding that guy's dog from Arkansas,
Oh yeah,
and she did not want me touching her,
yeah,
and she turned around and nipped me on the finger.
yeah. And he thought it was funny,
Yeah.
which I said, "That's not funny. You got grandkids. This dog runs around
No,
with."
but I mean, I was messing with the dog's private parts, and the
Well.
dog didn't like it, and it was in heat. So anyway, he put the dog on his lap, and everything was fine. So that's the only time. And now, I've seen French Bulldogs be aggressive when other dogs are in heat. You've got two males that normally get along with each other. I've seen a little bit of aggression like that, so certainly it can happen. But this is rather different. That's aggression. Typically, that kind of aggression you see other dogs showing their dominance, right? They're one's an alpha dog, the other one wants to be an alpha dog.
You see that, but
Yeah, you see that. But not towards humans.
You're right.
Not towards humans.
Right.
So, my thoughts were, first off, since she took some medication that kind of calmed the dog down, I mean, it's something, it's some kind of a brain structure thing, I would think. Quite possibly could be a tumor, could be something else. So then, if it was a human being, what would you do? I mean, you'd go have an MRI done, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right? And then, if you could see a tumor there, then you'd have brain surgery, have the tumor removed. Would you do that for a dog?
No.
That's even possible. I mean, so the question gets to be,
I haven't heard of anything like that before on working on a dog's brain.
I mean, I've heard of dogs that got tumors.
I don't know
Never heard of them.
a trainer, but I mean, it's been with them. It's with its family.
I don't think you can train this out of the dog. I don't think you can. Who's the guy that you see the dog whisperer?
Oh yeah, Yeah.
What's his name?
I can't remember.
His Spanish or Mexican.
Yeah, he makes a lot of sense on some stuff.
But I don't think you're getting this dog. I think
know.
I think you're asking to get bit. So I mean, I gave us a suggestion. Have you got a suggestion?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. It's not a very nice one, my suggestion.
No.
Okay.
And you don't want to take it to be adopted somewhere else because it'll just bite somebody else.
Oh, it's a liability.
Yeah.
You can't do that. No, that's just the problem. The dog. So a dog like this, it's like all really aggressive dogs or dogs that truly are troubled dogs. They're a liability. Yeah, it's fine. We're down a bunker. They're a liability. And if somebody gets bit and you knew that it was a threat, that it's a problem, then you tend to get sued over this. And
yeah,
hey,
you sure can.
Fair enough, too, right?
You sure can. Yeah.
Some people get their nose bitten off. Kid gets an eye taken out by the dog, and you didn't warn somebody that dog is a dangerous dog. It's on you.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, what are we going to do?
You're asking me.
Yes. I want you to say what the right answer is.
If
I want to say.
You wanted me to answer, and you keep on saying something every time I start to answer you. I would hate to say what I'm fixing to say.
Yes.
But it's the very, very last resort.
Yes.
Since you have children.
Yes.
You are responsible to protect your children, your family. I think I would. I hate saying it. Put the dog down.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do. You put the dog down. I mean,
is that what you thought?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I told her. Actually, what happened is that she got this problem. She'd been fighting it, and she was talking to, I think, her son about it. And he said, "Call James and Tammy up. They know. They've got more experience than our vet in this stuff." And I talked to her about it, and I said, "I don't have any experience with this, other than it's very abnormal, and you've got a liability."
I feel sorry for him because that's a hard decision.
I think that you basically got to put a dog down. And she said, "Yeah, I just wanted to hear it from somebody else." And I said, "Well, that's the reality of it." Tammy's driving like a maniac. It's not a police car there. It's not.
No, it's not.
So anyway, there we go. So that was kind of a sad story, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think you got to be realistic about look, French Bulldogs, they might lick somebody to death. That's all they can do. And the good news about
we'd like to hear other people's opinion.
We would, absolutely.
Too. I mean, this is what we do our videos for.
That's right.
If you've got a better answer,
yes,
give us that answer.
Well, if you've had a dog
I'd like to know.
Had a tumor and it's been successfully treated, we'd like to know,
Yeah, and then James can let that woman know.
Was there radiation therapy involved? Was there surgery involved? Were there drugs
it just
involved?
Depends on how expensive it's going to be and what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You bet. So that's an interesting conversation too about, what do you do for your dog when your dog gets in trouble, right? And I think it depends on your relationship with the dog, right? So I think part of the problem here is we see this with humans who really suffer a lot at the end of their lives because they don't have the option that we have for our dogs, which is basically to let them go gracefully by putting them down. And when I say put them down, I've seen this done on horses, and just giving them an injection, and literally they just collapse and they
go to sleep.
They just go to sleep, totally painless for them, and that's the end of maybe some debilitating pain. Some of us, unfortunately, will go through.
Well, I used to work in the vet's office, and that was a sad day when somebody had to bring their dog in and put it down because, they are going to sleep, but it's just sad because all these memories you have with them, and it just breaks your heart. But
yes, but at the same time, there is a point where the amount of pain that's being endured is not worth the extra, months of time on this earth that you might have, in a rough environment. So, but again, that's not what we're talking about with this dog, because this dog is just pissed and wants to bite somebody.
Well, something's viciously wrong and not right.
Right. Yes. So there we go. Well, anyway, look. I mean, there are other dogs, obviously, that are that can be a lot more aggressive. I don't want to pick out particular breeds, but there are some dogs that are potentially, they were trained and kept because they were fighting animals.
Yeah.
But if somebody's got some experience with this, as to they've been in this situation, what the outcome was, good or bad, we'd like to hear from you. That's it.
Yes.
See you. Bye, everybody.